The lavender fields of Provence stretched out endlessly beneath the pearlescent glow of the moon. The air, thick with the scent of blooms just past their prime, hung heavy and almost stifling. Elias, with his usual easy grace, held my hand, his fingers brushing lightly against mine. We were a picture of youthful bliss, two souls drunk on the heady mix of first love and a summer that refused to end. "Isn't it perfect, Amelie?" Elias murmured, his voice barely a whisper against the symphony of crickets chirping their nightly lullaby. I leaned into him, the warmth of his body a stark contrast to the cool night air. "Perfect," I breathed back, gazing up at the endless tapestry of stars splashed across the inky canvas of the night sky. We continued walking, the crunch of dry earth under our feet the only sound besides the relentless chirping. Elias and I had been inseparable for the past 3 months. We met while I was on a solo backpacking trip through Europe, a naive 19-year-old with a thirst for adventure and a heart brimming with wanderlust. He was a local, a farmhand with sun-kissed skin and eyes the color of the summer sky. Our connection was instantaneous, a spark that ignited into a wildfire within days. Suddenly, Elias stopped. "Look," he said, pointing towards a cluster of trees that stood like dark sentinels on the horizon, a stark contrast to the endless fields of lavender. The Abandoned Chateau. I knew of the place. It was a local legend, a crumbling relic of a bygone era, shrouded in whispers of tragedy and misfortune. "We shouldn't go there, Elias," I said, a shiver running down my spine. The locals spoke of strange lights flickering in its empty windows, and unsettling sounds emanating from its depths. Elias chuckled, the sound warm and reassuring. "Nonsense, Amelie. It's just an old house." He squeezed my hand playfully. "Come on, just a peek. It'll be an adventure." Against my better judgment, I let him lead me. The closer we got, the more oppressive the silence became. The chirping of the crickets seemed to fade away, replaced by an unsettling stillness. The air grew heavy, thick with an unexplainable tension. I could have sworn I saw fleeting shadows flitting within the dilapidated structure, but dismissed it as a trick of the moonlight filtering through the skeletal branches of the surrounding trees. We reached the front gate, a rusty monstrosity that creaked ominously as Elias pushed it open. The path leading to the chateau was overgrown with weeds, and the once grand building loomed before us, a skeletal silhouette against the moonlit sky. Its windows, like empty eyes, seemed to stare down at us with an unsettling intensity. Elias, unfazed by the desolate atmosphere, took my hand and led me closer. He reached for a loose brick protruding from the wall, using it to pry open a boarded window. "Just a peek, I promise," he whispered again, his voice tinged with an odd excitement I didn't understand. He climbed through the window, extending a hand to help me up. The interior was shrouded in darkness, the only light filtering in from the gaping hole we created. The air inside was stale and thick with the smell of dust and decay. Cobwebs draped from the exposed beams like macabre decorations, and the floorboards groaned ominously under our weight. Suddenly, a loud crash from somewhere deeper within the house shattered the silence. My heart leaped into my throat, and I instinctively reached for Elias' hand. It wasn't there. Panic clawed at my throat. "Elias," I called out, my voice barely a squeak. No answer. Only a deathly silence hung heavy in the air. Terror propelling me forward, I fumbled for my phone, the weak light offering a sliver of comfort in the suffocating darkness. I called out for Elias again, my voice echoing eerily in the vast emptiness. Still no answer. Tears burning my eyes, I started towards the source of the crash, my phone's light casting grotesque shadows that danced on the dusty walls. The floorboards creaked ominously under my feet, each step adding to the symphony of my racing heart. I found him sprawled on the floor at the foot of a grand staircase, his face contorted in a silent scream. His eyes were wide open, staring vacantly into the inky abyss. A dark stain blossomed on his chest, spreading like a malevolent flower. A primal scream ripped from my throat, a raw, desperate sound that seemed to hang in the air long after it faded. I dropped to my knees beside him, my hand reaching out to touch his face. It wasn't cold. That's what struck me first. The human body, even in death, retains a certain chill. But Elias' skin was warm, almost feverish. My fingers brushed against his cheek, and a tremor ran through my body. His eyes, once filled with warmth and laughter, were now vacant, staring sightlessly into the darkness. Panic choked back the scream that threatened to erupt again. My mind raced, desperately searching for an explanation, for some logical reason for the scene before me. But logic had fled, leaving only a chilling emptiness in its wake. Suddenly, a faint whisper broke the silence. It was barely audible, a sibilant sound that seemed to slither through the air like a serpent. I whipped my head around, searching for the source, but the vast, empty room offered no answers. The whisper came again, closer this time, tinged with a malice that sent shivers down my spine. It was wordless, yet it conveyed a sense of chilling amusement, a dark satisfaction at my terror. I scrambled to my feet, my phone slipping from my grasp and clattering to the floor. The screen went dark, plunging me back into the suffocating darkness. Blind terror fueled me. I had to get out. I had to find my way back to the window, back to the safety of the moonlit fields. My breath came in ragged gasps as I stumbled blindly through the darkness, the decaying floorboards groaning in protest. Every groan, every creak echoed in my ears, morphing into monstrous growls and unearthly shrieks. My hands brushed against cobwebs, sending shivers down my spine despite the urgency propelling me forward. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, I felt the rough texture of the brick wall. Relief flooded through me, momentary and desperate. I fumbled for the opening, my fingers scraping against jagged edges. Just as I found the gap, the whispers came again, this time a chorus, surrounding me, filling the air with a chilling symphony of malice. With a strength born of pure terror, I squeezed through the window, tumbling onto the overgrown path outside. I scrambled to my feet and ran, not daring to look back. The whispers seemed to follow for a while, growing fainter with each desperate stride. I didn't stop running until I burst out of the overgrown gate and collapsed onto the soft earth of the lavender field. My chest burned with the effort, and tears of terror streamed down my face. Dawn was just beginning to paint the horizon with streaks of pale pink and orange, a stark contrast to the chilling events of the night. I lay there, gasping for breath, the silence now broken only by the returning chirping of the crickets. The sun rose, casting its warm golden light on the world, but it couldn't penetrate the chilling horror that had taken root in my soul. The news reports called it a tragic accident. A fall from a dilapidated building. A heartbroken family, whispers of a promising life cut short. But I knew the truth. There was no accident. There was only the suffocating darkness, the chilling whisper, and Elias' vacant eyes, forever locked in a silent scream. The memory of that night never faded. It became a constant companion, a chilling reminder of the unseen darkness that lurks in the shadows, a darkness capable of snuffing out life with a single, silent breath. And sometimes, on nights when the moon hangs full and heavy in the sky, I swear I can still hear the faint whisper, a chilling echo from beyond the veil.